The moment you stop defending yourself, the world starts to respect you. This video will teach you why indifference, not strength, makes you untouchable. There is a hidden trap that most people fall into without even noticing. It is the trap of caring too much about how they are seen, how they are judged, and how they are spoken about. From childhood, we are told to prove ourselves, to explain when accused, to defend when questioned, and to correct when misunderstood. We grow up thinking that if we just explain enough, if we just show our good heart, if we just convince others of our innocence, they will respect us. But the truth is the opposite. The more you try to prove yourself, the more power you hand over. Every time you care too much about how others see you, you are quietly telling them they control you. And in that moment, they own you. Caring loudly does not build respect. It creates weakness. The person who rushes to defend every comment, who explains themselves over and over, does not look noble. They look desperate. They look like someone who cannot stand on their own without the approval of others. And once people see that, they know where your weak spot is. They know that with a few words, a small accusation, or even silence, they can bend you. The truth no longer matters, because you already gave away the only thing that counts in human games of power, your composure. Once that is gone, everything else follows. Think of the moments when you have explained yourself too much. Did the other person really walk away convinced? Or did you notice that your defense only made them push harder? When someone sees you scrambling to explain, they don't see honesty. They see control. They realize they can make you move with nothing more than their opinion. That is not respect, that is manipulation. And you allowed it by caring too much. Indifference breaks this cycle. Indifference is not coldness, it is freedom. It is the refusal to hand over your peace of mind every time someone throws a word at you. It is the choice to stop being predictable, to stop being baited, and to stop giving away your power. When you are indifferent to gossip, to insults, to sideways comments, you rise above the trap that most people never escape. Because the truth is, most people are addicted to proving themselves. They cannot stand to be misunderstood. They cannot bear the thought that someone might see them as less. That addiction keeps them chained to every whisper and every glance. Indifference cuts the chain. The ones who truly command respect are not the loudest, not the ones who explain the most, but the ones who don't seem to care. Their indifference makes them mysterious, untouchable, even feared. People wonder why they are so calm, why they do not react, and in that wondering they build myths around them. Indifference creates an aura that defense never can. And once you learn to live it, you stop falling into the trap of caring too much. You stop living for their approval and start living in your own strength. That is when real power begins. Attention is the one currency that cannot be replaced once it is spent. Money can be earned again, time can sometimes be managed, but attention, once given, is gone forever. In every game of power, attention is the most expensive resource because it shows the world what matters to you. When you react to an insult, when you chase down a rumor, when you let someone's slight make you speak or move, you are spending that currency. You are showing them that they have a hold over you. Most people do not see it this way. They think reacting makes them strong. They think fighting back proves they are not weak. But all it proves is that they can be controlled. And once people learn how to control you, they will never stop pressing the button that makes you react. Indifference is the art of refusing to spend your attention where it does not deserve to go. It is not laziness, it is not passivity, it is strategy. When you refuse to pay, you raise your value. Think of it like this. A luxury brand does not chase every customer. It does not beg people to understand its worth. It does not explain itself on every corner. It stays silent, it keeps its distance, and because of that, people line up for it. Your attention works the same way. The more freely you give it, the less it is worth. The more selective you become, the more people chase after it. The trap that most fall into is believing that attention spent in defense is noble. They believe that if they just explain enough, argue enough, or set the record straight, people will respect them. But no one remembers explanations, they remember reactions, and reactions are proof of weakness. When you defend yourself, you are proving you are vulnerable to what was said. When you argue, you are admitting the other person's words have weight. When you seek to clarify, you are confessing that you fear being misunderstood. All of this tells the world one thing, that your attention is cheap and easily purchased. Indifference changes the frame. When you ignore an insult, it does not grow, it dies. When you ignore gossip, it eats the person spreading it instead of you. When you refuse to argue, you show that your sense of self cannot be purchased with the cheap coins of other people's opinions. And the more you do this, the more people start to notice. They begin to wonder why you do not respond, why you do not defend, why you remain still while others scramble for validation. In that silence, your value rises, because people always assume indifference means superiority. This is why the strongest people are never the loudest. They are the ones who seem untouchable, whose attention cannot be stolen, whose calm makes others doubt themselves. Every moment you choose indifference over reaction, you are not losing the fight, you are saving your currency. And in the long run, that savings becomes power. Most people believe that emotion is proof of honesty, that showing anger or pain makes them look real, that defending themselves with passion makes them appear strong. But in truth, emotion is the easiest lever for others to use against you. When someone wants to control you, they do not need facts, they do not need evidence, they only need to make you feel. If they can make you angry, you lose clarity. If they can make you feel offended, you lose control. If they can make you desperate to be understood, you will hand over your power without realizing it. Emotion becomes the rope that others use to pull you wherever they want you to go. And the more you care about showing how right you are, the tighter that rope becomes. Think of arguments you have had in the past. Often the facts did not matter as much as the tone. The one who stayed calm looked stronger, while the one who lost control looked weaker even if they were right. This is because people do not judge truth in cold terms. They judge it by presence, and presence collapses the moment you show you can be moved. The world is full of people who feed on reactions. They poke, they push, they whisper, and they wait. They do not need victory in logic, they only need you to flinch. Once you do, they win. Because in the eyes of everyone watching, the person who is controlled by emotion is the one who has already lost. Indifference is the act of breaking the lever. It is the choice to remain unmoved when others try to pull you. It does not mean you do not feel anything inside. It means you refuse to let those feelings show as weapons against you. When you do not react, when you stay calm in the face of provocation, you are sending a message that is far louder than anger ever could be. You are saying you cannot move me, and the moment people realize they cannot move you, their weapon becomes useless. This is why the ones who hold the most power are rarely the ones who shout. They are the ones who stay silent while others rage. They are the ones who look calm while others lose control. They are the ones who seem immune to attack because nothing seems to touch them. That aura is not built on force, it is built on indifference. It is the refusal to let emotion become leverage. It is the quiet decision to deny people the satisfaction of seeing you moved. The truth is, people expect you to react. They want it. They plan for it. When you do not, their strategy collapses. They start to look unhinged, desperate, unstable, while you remain still. And in that stillness, the power flips. Because the crowd does not remember who was right, they remember who was calm. They remember who looked untouchable. And that is the secret. When you stay indifferent, you are not suppressing emotion, you are transforming it into strength. You break the lever before it can be used, and you walk away holding the only thing that truly matters, control. Most people spend their lives chasing the idea of being understood. They think if they can just explain enough, argue enough, repeat themselves enough, the truth will come out and everyone will see their innocence. It feels natural, because we are trained from childhood to believe that truth is a shield, that if we carry it long enough and speak it loud enough, it will rescue us. But in reality, truth is rarely what wins. What wins is perception. And perception is not shaped by the details of your explanation. It is shaped by how you carry yourself while under fire. The harder you try to clear your name, the guiltier you look. People rarely believe explanations given under pressure. Instead, they see someone scrambling, someone desperate, someone who cannot stand still under doubt. And desperation never looks innocent, it looks weak. The more you defend, the more you prove that you need defending. The more you explain, the more you confirm that someone else's accusation has weight. This is the myth of vindication, the belief that you can save yourself by chasing the approval of others. But approval does not come from proving you are right. It comes from making others feel you are beyond judgment. Think of the most powerful figures you have ever seen. They are not the ones who answered every critic or corrected every rumor. They are the ones who ignored the noise and let time work in their favor. Their refusal to seek vindication made them appear untouchable. The public, the crowd, the group begins to wonder why they are so calm, why they do not react, why they do not defend. In that silence, doubt shifts away from them and onto the accuser. People begin to ask, if he is not defending himself, maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe the one who is loud is the one who has something to hide. Indifference flips the stage. When you do not chase vindication, when you let accusations hang unanswered, you project strength. You show that your self-worth is not built on what others say about you. And when people see that you do not need their validation, they respect you more, not less. Because deep down everyone knows that the person who panics to explain is the one who feels exposed, while the person who stays silent is the one who feels secure. The truth does not need to be announced. It reveals itself over time, but perception is immediate, and it is perception that builds power. When you choose indifference instead of defense, you stop playing on their stage and force them to perform alone. They repeat themselves, they over-explain, they grow emotional, and in doing so, they make themselves look guilty while you grow stronger by standing still. The myth of vindication is the greatest weakness most people never escape. They believe they must always prove themselves, but the real power is found in never trying to. The moment you stop chasing rescue through explanation, you become untouchable. Silence on its own can be ignored, but silence combined with calm presence becomes something far greater. It becomes an aura that unsettles people, not because you said something sharp, but because you chose not to. When a person does not rush to prove, defend, or argue, they give off a quiet signal that they are operating on a different level. This signal is felt more than understood, and it shifts the balance of power in any room. People begin to question themselves, to wonder why you are so calm, why you are not fighting back, why you seem untouched. Indifference, when carried with presence, is not emptiness, it is projection. It is the art of making others imagine strength you never had to display. Think of the people who have impressed you the most. They were not always the loudest or the most outspoken. Often it was the ones who could sit in stillness, who could let others talk, who could refuse to rise to bait. That stillness creates tension. Everyone expects a reaction. When it does not come, they lean in, they look closer, and they begin to fill the silence with their own imagination. They assume you know more than you are saying, that you are too strong to be shaken, that you are holding back power you do not need to use. This is how an aura is born, not from what you show, but from what you withhold. Indifference carries weight because it is rare. Most people cannot bear to be misunderstood. They rush to explain, to defend, to argue, to make sure no one sees them wrongly. But the one who allows misunderstanding, the one who sits calmly while others whisper or accuse, creates a different story. People begin to think, if he is not defending himself, maybe he does not need to. Maybe the silence is confidence. Maybe the lack of reaction is strength. And that thought is far more powerful than any explanation you could give. The aura of indifference works like a mirror. It does not reflect you, it reflects the insecurity of others. When someone attacks and you do not move, the spotlight shifts back to them. They become the one who looks emotional, unstable, and desperate for a fight. Your stillness exposes their noise, and suddenly the crowd begins to see them differently. What was meant to make you look weak makes them look small, and all you did was nothing. This is why indifference is not passive. It is active control of perception. It is knowing that power is not always in the strike, but in the restraint. By refusing to care loudly, by holding yourself steady, you project an image that others cannot shake. They cannot tell if you are confident, dangerous, or simply unbothered, and because they do not know, they assume the strongest. That assumption becomes your shield, and your silence becomes your weapon. Indifference as aura is the ability to make people doubt themselves without saying a word. It is the projection of untouchable presence, the calm force that turns attention into respect. And once you master it, You never need to chase validation again because your presence alone commands it. Every social setting is a battlefield of frames. At dinner tables, in business meetings, on digital platforms, every remark, every jab, every sideways comment is bait. The moment someone tries to undermine you, they are not just speaking, they are testing. They are throwing a hook into the water to see if you will bite, and most people do. They lean forward, they defend, they laugh nervously, they try to explain themselves or smooth over the tension. In doing so, they think they are protecting their reputation, but what they are really doing is surrendering control of the frame. The frame is not about what is said, it is about how it is received. If someone jabs at you in front of others and you rush to explain, you are telling the room that their words landed. You are saying, "This hit mattered to me." And once you show that, the frame shifts. Now everyone is looking at you, not as the calm one, but as the one who is shaken. Even if you prove yourself right, you lose because people remember the reaction, not the explanation. The indifferent man plays it differently. He lets the jab die in the air. He does not defend, he does not argue, he does not try to balance the moment with nervous laughter. He holds still. And in that stillness, something powerful happens. Everyone in the room shifts their eyes not to the attacker but to him. They are waiting for his move, but none comes. The silence becomes louder than any words could have been. The attacker starts to fidget, to explain themselves, to laugh awkwardly, because now they are the one under the spotlight. The frame flips without effort. The one who did not blink owns the room. This is the essence of social power. It is not about winning arguments or proving points. It is about controlling the narrative that everyone else walks away with. People do not replay the words as much as they replay the feeling of the moment. And the one who stayed calm, who refused to take the bait, who made no effort to explain himself, leaves the strongest impression. He looks composed, above the noise, untouchable. The one who threw the jab looks smaller, because without reaction their words had no weight. Online this is even more obvious. People post, they comment, they provoke, waiting for you to react. The second you do, they win because now you are on their field. But if you ignore it, if you remain indifferent, their energy collapses. They look like the one obsessed, emotional, desperate for attention. You look like the one beyond reach. And the crowd, whether in a room or on a screen, always sides with the one who keeps the frame. Social power belongs to those who understand this truth. The one who reacts gives away control. The one who stays calm rewrites the scene. Indifference is not silence for its own sake. It is the refusal to let someone else dictate the narrative. It is the quiet move that makes everyone else question who really holds the upper hand. And the answer is always the same. The frame belongs to the man who did not blink. The most common place people lose power is not in business meetings or public debates, but in the quiet moments of love and friendship. These are the spaces where emotions run deep, where words carry more weight, and where the fear of losing someone can make even the strongest person panic. When accused of not caring enough, of being distant, of being selfish, most people react instantly. They defend, they reassure, they beg to be understood. They raise their voice or pour out explanations thinking they are saving the relationship. But what they are really doing is giving away the one thing that keeps balance in human connection, control of tempo. The one who panics hands over the steering wheel. They let the other person set the rhythm, the tone, the direction of the moment. And once that happens, they are no longer leading the interaction, they are following it. This is why relationships often spiral, not because of the problem itself, but because one person allowed themselves to be dragged into the emotional tempo of the other. When you follow every wave of feeling, you become lost at sea. Indifference does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean cruelty or detachment. It means you remain grounded enough to control the tempo instead of being controlled by it. If your partner or friend accuses you of not caring, the average person will rush to defend, will plead their case, will try to prove their affection in that very moment. But the one who has mastered indifference does not react with panic. They hold calm. They let the words hang in the air. They choose to respond slowly, with weight, not with frantic energy. That choice changes everything, because the truth is, emotion spreads. If you react in panic, the other person grows more dramatic. If you remain calm, the other person starts to soften, even to doubt their own outburst. You are not dismissing their feelings, but you are refusing to let their storm dictate your state. And in that refusal, you create stability. People crave stability even if they fight against it in the moment. When you show that you cannot be shaken, you become the anchor in the relationship. The aura of calm indifference is powerful in personal bonds because it shifts the frame from weakness to strength. The one who rushes to explain looks guilty. The one who stays calm looks secure. The one who reacts wildly looks unstable. The one who responds slowly looks trustworthy. This is not about playing games. It is about refusing to lose yourself in the emotions of others. Control of tempo is control of power. When you decide when to speak, how to speak, and whether to speak at all, you are no longer reacting, you are leading. And the person who leads the emotional tempo in any relationship is the one who holds influence. Indifference is the shield that makes this possible. It does not push people away, it pulls respect closer. Because in the end, people do not feel safest with the one who reacts the loudest. They feel safest with the one who does not flinch. There is a strange thing that happens when you choose not to respond. Most people expect their words to pull a reaction. They expect you to defend, to explain, to match their energy. When you do not, the force they tried to use on you does not disappear, it bounces back onto them. Silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their own emotions, their own intentions, their own instability. Instead of you carrying the weight of the moment, they are left holding it alone. And that is when the power begins to shift. When someone throws an accusation, they want you to wrestle with it. If you respond, you take the burden, you play their game. But when you refuse, when you stay silent, they are forced to sit with their own words. They begin to hear how sharp, how petty, or how exaggerated they sound. They replay it in their head, wondering if they went too far, wondering if the silence means they were wrong. Doubt enters not because you attacked them, but because you didn't. Silence does the work for you, because the human mind cannot stand emptiness. When there is no reply, no explanation, no reassurance, the other person fills the gap themselves, and usually they overfill it. Indifference is what makes this mirror work. Silence alone can feel cold or disconnected, but silence with calm presence feels deliberate. It feels like control. People sense when you are not just shutting down, but choosing not to engage. That choice unsettles them, because it means they cannot move you. And when they realize they cannot move you, their own words begin to move them instead. They start questioning if they embarrassed themselves, if they exposed their own insecurity, if they showed too much. Without you saying anything, they start arguing with themselves. Think of the times you stayed quiet while someone tried to provoke you. Did you notice how quickly they filled the space, how they repeated themselves, how their tone shifted from confident to defensive? That was the mirror working. They thought they were attacking you, but in reality, they were attacking their own reflection. The silence you held forced them to face themselves, and in that moment, you became the stronger one without lifting a finger. This is why the silent mirror is such a powerful tool in both personal and social battles. You do not need to destroy someone with clever words. You do not need to fight to prove yourself. All you need is to let their energy return to them. People are rarely prepared for this because they expect a reaction. When it doesn't come, they unravel. They talk too much. They expose their weakness. They reveal what they wanted to hide. And everyone watching can see the difference between the one who lost control and the one who stayed calm. Power does not always come from what you say. Sometimes it comes from saying nothing and letting the silence do the cutting. The mirror never lies. It forces people to see themselves. And when you master this, you no longer waste your energy proving who you are. You let others destroy their own image while yours remains untouched. Most people spend their lives trying to be strong. They learn to resist, to defend, to push back when challenged. Strength is celebrated because it looks solid, it looks forceful, it looks like control. But strength, no matter how impressive, is still reactive. It still meets pressure with pressure. It still acknowledges the attack by pushing against it. Indifference is different. Indifference does not resist, it does not defend, it does not push. It simply floats above, immune to what is happening around it. And this immunity is what makes it the highest stage of power. When you are strong, you can win battles. But when you are indifferent, there are no battles to fight. You are not dragged into arguments. You are not baited into emotional traps. You are not forced to prove your worth. You stand apart, untouched, because nothing can pull you down to a level where you must explain yourself. This is not about arrogance or cruelty. It is about a deeper form of security, the kind that makes you untouchable. The final stage of power is not found in being loved for your kindness or feared for your aggression. Those forms of power depend on others. Love can be withdrawn, fear can be replaced. Respect, however, that comes from indifference is harder to shake. People respect the one who cannot be moved, the one who does not bend under pressure, the one who does not seem to live for anyone's approval. That respect runs deeper because it is mixed with caution. When people realize they cannot manipulate you, they begin to treat you differently. They measure their words around you. They control their tone. They wonder what you are thinking. All of this happens not because you fought for power, but because you refused to. Indifference builds an aura that strength cannot. Strength always risks becoming predictable. Everyone knows you will fight. Everyone knows you will resist. But indifference leaves people unsure. They cannot tell if you are calm because you are above them or because you know something they do not. They cannot read you, and that unreadability makes them cautious. Mystery has always been more powerful than clarity because mystery makes people hesitate, and hesitation in others is control for you. To reach this state, you must let go of the need to be seen as right. You must stop chasing approval, stop fearing judgment, stop explaining every move you make. The untouchable state comes when you live by your own definition and let others think what they want. Their opinions do not add or take away from you. They are just noise in the background. And when you carry yourself this way, something happens. People stop testing you, they stop poking, they stop baiting, they stop trying to pull you down because they already know it will not work. You have become untouchable. This is why indifference is the ultimate power move. Strength may win the fight, but indifference ends the fight before it begins. It does not resist. It does not flinch. It simply stands above. And that is the kind of power no one can take away. Maybe this video helped you see yourself or someone you know in a different way. Feel free to let us know via a like or in the comments. And if you want more wisdom and guidance in becoming a better version of yourself, subscribe now. This is the moment to start becoming the person you really want to be.